Hello everyone, welcome to Magical Me. I'm Jamie Mendez, spiritual intuitive and oracle, and I'm here with a little bit of a special treat. This is something a little unusual. I don't usually pop on midweek, but today is a very special occasion, and I'm going to explain all about why it is so special. But today I'm actually going to be doing an unveiling of Cheryl Yambrach Rose's new oracle deck. I'm going to talk all about that, so I'll give a few moments and just let everybody start to pop on and see that I'm live. And hey Dawn, welcome beautiful. Yeah, it's a surprise. Hi Casey, welcome sweetie. Tracy, Donna, Deb, welcome. And you know what, while everybody's popping on, I'm just going to step away for a second. I'm going to grab, I want to also share Cheryl's other two decks because they're really, really pertinent to what I'm going to be talking about today. So, hey Noreen, welcome love. I'll be right back in 1 second. You want to go outside? Come on. Good. You want to go outside? Go ahead. You can go. Go ahead. Try not to bump the camera again. Oh, thank you. Hey, Tiffany. Welcome. You want to learn Reiki, Donna? Well, you're not too far from me, right? I mean, you are kind of considered local. Not too far. I don't remember exactly where you're at, and I know you did move. But I am offering level 1 right now, February 22nd. So if you are interested, now's the time to jump on it. If not, I will be offering it again in a few months. Okay. Thank you. It's my magical purple tea chair. How far is that? It's a really long day. So it's not like you would just be going and coming right back, you know. So the class is very in-depth. It's about a 5.5 to 6 hour class. So if you are interested, definitely, keep me posted. Let me know, love, okay? Hey, Ray. Welcome, sister girl. All right. So for those of you who are just popping in, today I have decided to do something a little special, a little fun, a little out of the box, because I am celebrating the fact that I have been waiting for this lovely lady to put out a new oracle deck for quite a few years. And her deck was just released. Lots of websites that are getting the deck are not launching it until May. However, US Games and in the United States did have it available immediately for purchase. So that's how I got my hands on mine. And if you are located in Australia, her publisher is actually Blue Angel Publishing, and they also do have it available. And you can order it in the United States from there as well. It's just going to take a little longer, and you will have to pay the extra shipping, obviously, for international. So, but today I am doing live the unveiling of Cheryl Yambrach Rose's new oracle deck called Transcendent Journeys. And I'm going to show that deck to you right now. Hey Linz, hey Gregory, welcome. And obviously everything is backwards because the mirror effect. Hey Lynette, welcome. Hey Amber. So I did open it, because I had to. I really am super excited. I've been waiting this for years. And behind me actually is some artwork that is in this deck that is also created by Cheryl Yambrach Rose. Hey Jillian, welcome sweetheart. You made it. I'm super excited, obviously, if you can't tell. So I'm going to talk about the deck in a second. I'm also going to do something here for anybody who is very new to working with oracle cards or even tarot cards. Anybody who actually works with any form of divination tools. I'm going to do something special with all of you today. I'm actually going to walk you through how when I get a brand new deck, I actually clear it and attune it to my own energy. So I'm going to do that with everybody too, and I'm also going to share the deck with you. And then as a special incentive and bonus, after I attune it to my energy and clear it, of course, I'm going to pull a card for those, as many people as I can, will say. Okay, I'm going to kind of choose randomly, and I'll choose a card from the deck for everybody. Okay. Hi, Alexandria. Welcome. So let me talk to you about Cheryl, all right? If you can't tell already, I adore Cheryl Yambrach Rose. She is an amazing artist. And a lot of oracle card deck creators, you know, they've got the intuition, they have the inspiration, but they also enlist an artist to come in and help them bring their inspiration to life. Cheryl is both the artist and the inspiration, and she really has a special gift. So I have been following Cheryl's work for, I would say, since the dawning of my spiritual journey. Is it possible to redo it? Amber, yes, absolutely. It absolutely is. Actually, you're supposed to clear your decks every so often, the same way with working with any tools. But we'll get to all of that, so just don't let me forget, and I'll touch more on that once we get to that part of the segment here. Otherwise, I am going to just lose my train of thought because I really want to get into this box. Hey, Bridge. Ooh, good luck, sister. Have fun. This will be here on replay for everybody. So I found Cheryl's work years and years ago when it was like the dawning of my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening. And I really was starting to, because I had been spiritual, magical, I had been doing, you know, what would be dubbed a little bit more of connecting with, I was a little bit more earthy then, more pagan, doing a little bit more of earthy type of work. But when I started having my spiritual awakening was really when I was working with oracle cards a whole lot. I've read tarot and cards almost my whole life, with the exception of some time off there with children and whatnot. But as my spiritual awakening began, I started getting this, how I like to say is like expanding your consciousness, where you begin to actually start to tap into higher awareness. And that was a time where working with angels was very foreign to me, even because of the fact that angels to me were denominational, you know, that angels were Christian, and I was not Christian. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that just shows you how limited my perception was at the time. And I was very confused when angels actually started coming to me in meditations and dreams and whatnot. So it was at the time where I was on the verge and the precipice of these epiphany moments. And we have these constant epiphany moments, guys. It's not just a one-time thing. We are constantly evolving, constantly going through shifts and changes. Hello, Patty. Hello, Bridget. Welcome. And I am talking about Cheryl Yambrach Rose's new deck, and I'm actually going to unveil the box and open it here for all of you, her Transcendent Journeys, and talking a little bit about how I actually came across Cheryl. And, you know, she was not as known to me as, you know, Lucy at the time, Lucy Cavendish or Colette Baron Reed. And so it was very few areas that I actually found anything about Cheryl Yambrach Rose. And I actually was fortunate enough to come across somewhere, I can't remember where, her first deck. And this was Art Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle. And look at this. This is beautiful. I work with this deck and the sister deck, which I'm going to talk about in a second, every day. You can ask anybody who knows me. I work with these. And those of you who follow me on my personal page, oftentimes if you see my story, I share my personal cards for the day. It's either this deck or the other deck of Cheryl's. So I found this deck, and it is, I always thought to myself, wow, this is really different. It isn't like the other decks that are out there. It felt much more complex. It did not feel as though the messages in the cards were to be taken at face value. It was a calling it called to my soul. And so I began to work with this deck, and even though I didn't have as big of an understanding back then, it really began to facilitate a lot of transformation within me spiritually and my own gifts. And information in these cards, there's a lot of information in here about the sacred sites all over the world, specifically Arthurian legend discussions in here, Glastonbury, England, and I had always been called to England. I just had never heard of Glastonbury at the time. And so my journey started to spiral and awaken, and I had come across a woman at the time who we had a lot in common. We were doing a lot of work together, and she lived out in California, and she actually invited me to not only come out to California with her, but to take me to Mount Shasta. And Mount Shasta is also, like Glastonbury, one of the earth chakras. And it is believed to be the root chakra. But there's a little bit of back and forth with that. Some people actually do believe that it is the crown chakra or higher crown chakra. I will tell you that I experienced both an awakening of my root and through my crown chakra while I was there. And that's because there is a vortex of energy at that site. Mount Shasta is this amazing and impressive mountain, and you can see it forms like an apex, and there's like a vortex that pulls up, is the way that I felt it back then. So I had probably my first encounter with angels there. I had amazing experiences. My first earth grid work, my activation of my own soul's journey there. And lo and behold, I go into a store, and as I'm in Shasta, I'm looking around, and I, of course, go to the Oracle card decks. And as I go to the decks, I find this deck, which is Art Through the Starstream Oracle. This is I call it the sister companion deck, and it was by it's by Cheryl Yambrach. And as I look around, there's all of these images of the cards and other paintings by Cheryl. And so I go over and I start looking around, and they have a lot of information, more information that I was used to seeing about Cheryl, all over the place. And sure enough, it is because Cheryl has a home in Mount Shasta, so she's actually a local there. So, the stores were all supporting her, sharing all of her information, all of her work, and it was like, there was no question in my mind. I had to have this deck. So I did, and that was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I really, maybe it wasn't that long, 5 years ago, maybe a little longer, I'm not sure. I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And again, I would tell all of my friends, you have to get these decks. But they are not easy decks to work with, in the sense of, when you are first awakening, there is so much in-depth, intricate information that I will say that when you are first starting out on your path, you might not understand it. You might not resonate it, but something within me did. Hi, Aunt Sarah. Welcome. Hello, beautiful Lara. Welcome. Hi, Shannon. And I'm not ignoring everybody. I will get to your comments. I just want to move through this. And Lynette, I will be pulling cards towards the end of this. You will absolutely get one. I'm going to do as many people as I possibly can. Yeah, if you want to stick around a bit. All right, hun? So these cards, and Lynette, I've talked to you about these cards over the years, and everybody would say, I would tell them, that there was like secret messages in them, and they were like breadcrumbs leading me on the journey of my soul's awakening to my soul's truth. And if it were not for these decks and for the beautiful, talented, gifted Cheryl, I would not have found my way to Glastonbury, England, which is my soul's home. It is ancient Avalon, for those of you familiar with the Avalonian stories and Arthurian legend, which I've always been drawn to. And it they continue to teach me. They continue to inspire me. And Cheryl herself seems to channel the information that comes through her paintings. And she puts so much time and energy into the work that she does. And these, it's almost like the images jump off the canvas and come to life. So, the first time I went to Glastonbury, I found out that Cheryl also has a home. I'm totally not a stalker, Cheryl. She knows it. I'm not a stalker. I found out that Cheryl also has a home part-time in Glastonbury, England, too. So how amazing is that I felt like, wow, I've been to Shasta and I'm called to Glastonbury, which are the huge references in all of her work. And I just thought that I have to meet this woman. She was hosting a gallery, which she does every year in Glastonbury at the time of the Goddess Conference in the summer. It's usually the end of July, beginning of August for anybody going. Cheryl will be there. She will be there this year hosting her art gallery. So I had a very busy week, my first time in Avalon. And it wasn't until the very last day of Cheryl's art gallery that Jillian, Karen, and myself were like, there's like an hour left of her gallery. I need to just get there. I want to see her. I just want to buy, some of her artwork. I really want to go. And we were fortunate enough to catch her in time and spend a little bit of time speaking to her. And she is an absolutely lovely soul, a lovely woman. Her heart to me just palpitates when you meet her. And it was to me, and there was just this knowing, when we clicked and when we met. And it was as if we'd known each other our whole lives. And so sure enough, we kind of kept in contact. And over the next year, I returned back to Glastonbury, and she's such a sweetheart. She knew that I wasn't going to be able to make her art gallery that year and invited me and the group that I was traveling with to her home and hosted a private gallery for us to be able to see all her artwork. So while I tell you that her art in these decks is fascinating and amazing, and it really does, I feel personally, activate and trigger those who are called to it, it is nothing compared to what her work is in person. Jillian, I'm going to ignore you. Yes, and I told her, I said, when I spoke to Cheryl, I told her all of these things and my story and how I've been called and how I did thank her. I did say, I'm sorry, at the risk of sounding like a starstruck fangirl, I need to explain this to you because honestly, I am incredibly grateful for coming into contact with her work, for the hard work that she put into it, because again, this to me was the unraveling of my journey home. And I'm still working on it, and she's still releasing decks, so how amazing. So again, these decks are already available, Art Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle and the Art Through the Starstream Oracle. Amazing decks to work with together. And so, without further ado, I am going to unveil Cheryl's deck. And I have a little bit more fascinating information too. Jillian, stop being a brat. Jillian had the opportunity to come along with, so she was there. And so first of all, let me just stop talking and show you. All right. So it is the Transcendent Journey Oracle. Now this is available by US Games. And I did share the link on Magical Me. It's just a post or two down, so you can see it. It's available now. And for those of you who are, overseas, you might have better luck also with Blue Angel Publishing, who is also distributing it now. I did see that it will be available on Amazon and Llewellyn, but I did not see that it was available yet on either one of those two sites. I think that it said May. So unless they have to update it yet, I'm not sure. But again, I got mine from US Games and Blue Angel Publishing for those of you who are overseas. Okay. So the box is pretty big in comparison. Whereas these ones are a little bit more unique in their And I think it's just more so the box, because let me show you the cards. When you open up the deck, the cards are bigger still, but they aren't the same size. They're a little bigger, which I absolutely love. Donna says, keep losing my connection, but want to see this. If I have a card drawn later, I will view later. Love you. Okay, Donna. No problem, sweetheart. Again, sometimes you have to like close it out and come back in. So I'm sorry about that. So you can see the size of these. Yes, Lara also was with us when we went, and she was able to experience. Again, the artwork is amazing, but the artwork in person, in the originals, which is what we got to view, is just astounding. Her work is amazing. It really feels like the way that she works with the coloring, it's like this beautiful, luminescent, ethereal glow in the skin, which really makes it feel like these energies in the decks are alive, you know. And again, a lot of it, to me, I personally feel that I do get activated with some of her images. And I do believe that's because of the information and the beings that she is channeling. Yes, Jillian, you are right. It is her first time with Blue Angel Publishing. So it's a big deal. This is a really big deal for her. And I know she was so excited about it. And it's been a long time in the waiting. At least, actually, I say a long time because it feels like it was a slow, painful death waiting for it. But realistically, it was only about a few months or so. And I know she's been working, was it maybe a little longer? It was maybe a little over a year, because she was working on this image, which is the back of the deck, when we were there. And she actually took us to her studio, her little private studio where she does her work, and showed us this painting in progress. And I believe it is called, this isn't a card in the deck though, it's just the back of the deck, but I do believe that it is called The Guardian of the Portal. And these are moonstones. And let me tell you that when we were in person looking at this painting, I almost wanted to reach out and touch to see, because those moonstones looked real. That's how amazing she is. I was like, oh wow, how clever is that you know, you use real moonstones. But when I looked, and plus I'm a moonstone lover, it's my like soul stone. It was painting. They were not real moonstones, so they did look so real. Yes, Laura, absolutely. So this is beautiful, and I love this one. The green rose, which is very significant to some of the spiritual work that I've been doing and seeing. Just amazing, that glow. And it's so hard with my lighting too. It's not the best. So I'm going to show you some of the cards here. This one also really does resonate with me. It's one of my favorites of hers, because I do resonate so very much with it. And it is the Guardian of the Sacred Vessel. I did buy a print, and a lot of her prints are available on her website, guys. So she has a Facebook page here. It's called Cheryl Yambrach Rose Hall Art. And I will share her page, and through that page you might be able to find her website, but I'm sure if you just Google, you can find her website. Or if you message her on her art page, you can probably reach out to her about purchasing some of the prints. Also, a lot of these paintings, the originals are still available, and you can purchase the originals. So if you're interested, I definitely encourage you to reach out. So Guardian of the Sacred Vessel. And I really love this because I am very drawn to working with the energy of the ancient bee priestesses. And if you can see, you see the little clasp there is a bee, fleur de lis there. So this is beautiful. I'm going to go through these for everybody. There is, oh, this is a great one. Love will endure, the journey to Avalon. And this goes right in alignment with Arthurian legend, as this is meant to be actually Morgan and King Arthur. And this is her journeying with him back to the Isle of Avalon. Okay. A Quest for Change, White Spirit Deer. And this looks incredibly familiar. I have not looked in the book yet because I literally just opened it. I didn't even get to clear it yet, so I'm going to do that with all of you. But this image, I feel like, and Karen, you can chime in. I don't know if you're tuned in or not right now. Cheryl actually told me about a place that's in one of her other decks. It's called the Welsh Fairy Glen. And as I was going to, when I met with her this past summer, I told her that I was taking a trip to Wales after Glastonbury. And she mentioned that I needed to check out this place called the Welsh Fairy Glen. And it is a place that she has spent some time in. She's actually had some really strong experiences there. And she did, I believe in the first deck, Art Through the Eyes of the Soul, there is this same background. I could be mistaken. If I'm wrong, she's probably say that's not what it is. What are you talking about? But it just reminds me of it. It looks very similar, and I actually did go, and I was there, and I did sit there and experience some really amazing energy while there. Definitely not. I was not alone. I'll say that. All right. So next we have and yes, Jillian, they are numbered. Number 4, Terraform Your World, Cosmic Creatrix, which is so beautiful. Love this. This one you've all seen in my background when I do Moon Day readings. I don't know if you remember. This is Ascended Master Sarah, who I strongly resonate with and do lots of work with. She is believed to be the daughter of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, or Jesus. And it says, Sarah de la Mer, establish your domain. Nurture your tribe, Star Mother. Show love and compassion, the angel of Mount Shasta. And above the angel's head are a formation of lenticular clouds that often are seen above the mountain range there and above Mount Shasta. I believe that somebody recently posted a picture of like a glowing orange one that showed up in a sunset, and it's like this glowing orange. It almost, to me, it looks like a portal, glowing orange portal. Next is Nurture the Magical Child, the Shaman's Child. Love that white deer spirit in the background there. Beautiful. Number 9, raise your frequency. Activate the 12 strands. And this is Mary Magdalene. And Karen and I actually have this hanging in, she also has not just prints, but some of her images. She does do like wall hanging tapestries. And we were able to get this one in one of those. And this one, some of you may have seen this in one of my images too behind me when I do Moon Day. This says, claim your power, the Lady of Avalon. You see Glastonbury tour in the background there. I actually shared this one today because she shared it on her page. 11, watch for signs, prophecies of the ancestors. Love that. Number 12, go back and refresh the 9 maidens of the Kaliak. Number 13, assistance is at hand, the crew. She does incorporate a lot of the shaman earthy energies as well as the star galactic energies, which I love because everything is about perfect balance of as above and so below. And in all 3 of her decks, Cheryl really does incorporate that. This one's beautiful. Number 14, let your love flow, the goddess of love, Aphrodite. Number 15, ooh, this one I love. Transformation, the Selkie Moon. Beautiful, right? 16, activate the divine masculine, guardian of the green world. And this is another place, St. Nectan's Glen, that on our tour that we take every year, we do go here. This is in Cornwall. which is the area of King Arthur's birthplace, Tintagel. And this is the energy of the Divine Mother here in the background too. But the ancient Templar Knights would come here, they believed, to basically receive a blessing from the Divine Mother, or the Sophia, the goddess, whatever you would refer to her as, to receive the blessing before, during their anointing, before they went off to battle, or when they were being entered into the Knight Templar order. Next is Joyful Beginnings, Magdalene's Reverie. It's beautiful. And I remember when she was painting this one, working on it, and it was amazing seeing that work come to life. I love this. Call in protection, Archangel Michael. Look at that. Embodying that blue ray energy there. Look to nature for healing, the essence of breed. It's the Celtic goddess Bridget. '20, retreat to avoid conflict. And this is the image behind me. It is Morgane, King Arthur's sister. And where she is sitting, where she painted this, Tor Webster actually took us there on our first trip, because last year when we went this past summer, Tintagel Castle was closed due to the construction of a bridge they're building to make it more accessible. And I actually sat in this very spot, which is believed where the ancient kings and queens, when they were anointed as king and queen, this was the throne that they would sit in. And across the cliffside, because this is on the edge of a massive cliff above the Cornish Sea there, the people would all line up across the sea to see them take their seats. And just above them, if you can see this here, is actually the cliffside where you can stand upon. And this is actually where King Arthur's footprint is believed to be. It's a massive footprint embedded into the stone. And this is actually where we have some photos of Karen and myself being anointed as a priestess of Avalon by our brother Tor. Okay. Just take a sip of my tea. It is amazing. And then it wasn't able to happen the second year. And Tor actually did say that it isn't something that gets to happen all the time. And the whole, it was not rehearsed. It was just something that happened. And, you know, even he was kind of like, whoa, like what's going on after the whole anointing happened. And Tor actually carries a walking stick or staff with him. And he used that to anoint us. We have pictures of it. I'll have to share it again onto Magical Me for everybody to see. But the sky in the background was like magical, typical Celtic sea. It was really crazy. So, yes, Jillian, you behave yourself. Yes, it is. That's the one that's on the picture. That's why I bought it, because after I sat in that spot and then I saw that painting that Cheryl had done, I was like, oh, of course I have to have it, you know. So next is Bear Your Burdens with Love. It is the Siberian Shamanka. It's beautiful. That light. My lighting in here is awful though too, guys. It's just not doing these cards justice, but they are so, so beautiful. 22. Banish Your Demons. Invoke the Agartha Alliance. Agartha is said to be a place in inner earth, down in the subterranean levels, and it's actually believed to be something of like Shambhala, I believe, but it's Agartha, and both in Shasta and in Glastonbury, it is believed that Agartha exists. It's actually believed that when King Arthur was, when he would go away and disappear for times, that's actually where he was. He was going down journeying to Agartha. So it's really very beautiful. But that is Mount Shasta in the background and the portal of Shasta. Yeah, last minute trips, absolutely. Oh, no problem, Linz. Have a good night. This will be here on replay if you want to keep looking then. 23, remember your past, but stay present. Awaken Lemuria. This is pretty magical. See if you can get close to that detail there. The ancient language there, or what I believe is the glyphs of an ancient language. And the stone in the background is very reminiscent of a Lyran lion being. Like I said, I have not looked at the book yet. 24, fulfillment is possible. The attainment. And this is what I believe is a, I don't necessarily want to say a Templar knight, but a Knight of the Rose, maybe we'll say, holding the Holy Grail. And there is Glastonbury Tor above him. And these two we've actually been to as well. This is the remnants of the old Glastonbury Abbey. The original site of where Mary Magdalene and Joseph of Arimathea established the first Celtic Christian church, or what we would consider today as the Celtic Christian church. As above, so below, the eyes of Lyra. Yeah, right, Jillian? Amazing. Love that one. Beautiful in her eyes. I really wish that my lighting was better for everyone. But if you get your own deck, you can just see it for yourself. And again, if you are ever in Glastonbury or Mount Shasta when Cheryl is there, check out her art in person. It's amazing. And again, a lot of these images she does have as prints for sale, but also as the original paintings. So this is Become Your Own Authority, Arthur of Tintagel. Okay. The Unexpected Mentor, Agar. And I think when we were visiting Cheryl at her home, she was actually telling us about this energy here. One of her mentors, one of her guides that did appear to her, I believe, while she was in Shasta, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you ladies remember. I don't remember if she said when she was in Shasta or when she was in Glastonbury. But this is actually one of her guides that came to her. And yeah, and she painted him based on how she saw him and remembered him. Amazing. Draw your story. Star Woman, Stone Woman. Look at that. Like I said, very beautiful blend of shamanic as well as the galactic energies here. Aspire higher, ascending consciousness. Look at that. Amazing. Love that. It's like a galactic eye there in the center. Create a powerful network, the Redwood Tree Devas. One thing, this is amazing, first of all. This is like she's jumping. If you could see this closer, it's like she's popping off of the card. The glow coming from her is just stunning. One thing that I do regret when I went to California was I did not have enough time to get out to the Redwood Forest. So I will definitely be doing that next time around. But, okay. Be open, things change. Sacred tunic cross. There's a badger and a fox there. It's pretty interesting. I'd love to read the story on this one. Ha! Hope, the rising phoenix. And I remember when she was painting this one too, me and Angie Walters were going crazy over this. Definitely have a deep affinity for the Morrigan, which is who this is, not to be confused with Morgaine. This is the Morrigan, the Celtic goddess of war and battle. And she does oftentimes transform into a raven. She is associated with ravens, but also the phoenix, which is the death and rebirth energy there. Explore new territory, Skota's journey. So this is believed to be the missing or lost princess of the Egyptian pharaoh I always forget how to pronounce his name. I'll come to it. I'll remember it once I'm done. I always would say like Anacotton. No, that's not it. It's like that though. Sounds like that. Anyways, Nefertiti's daughter. And she was the missing one, and it was believed that that's why there's a ship here. They found these ships in Scotland. And so it was believed that the Egyptians traveled to Scotland, and it was actually believed that she ended up finding, she kind of went there in exile to escape because her father's beliefs were so, he was trying to convert Egypt into a one God, the understanding of a one God versus the many gods, and eventually the people kind of rebelled against them, and he was killed. And so the children, kind of had to flee. He was no longer in power, and she was believed to escape to Scotland. And her name is Scota. It was not her Egyptian name, but this is what she was called later, and it's actually believed that this is where Scotland got its name from. Listen to your heart, Redwood Transcendence. This is beautiful. Again, in Merwoods, the Redwood Forest. I know this is a place that Cheryl talks about, that she actually visits a lot. And, when she's there, this is really the embodiment of what happens when she's there. She really just finds herself kind of melting into the trees and just connecting and, kind of coming back to center. And that, I imagine that's just amazing to be there. Change your environment, the Rainbow Serpent. And Tor Webster actually just put up on Amazon. He did actually publish a documentary on his work with the Rainbow Serpent. And what the Rainbow Serpent is the earth chakras and the energy ley lines that run through the earth. And he did just publish that on Amazon. So it is available if you are interested. A few posts back, I shared it, about a week or so back, I shared it. But if you go on Amazon, I do believe you have to have Prime though. It's called the Rainbow Serpent Project. Okay. The Rainbow Serpent, that's awesome. This one I know Angie Walters loves. It is Contemplation, but it is Igraine's Dilemma. Igraine is King Arthur's mother, and Angie always felt very strongly connected to her, so this is one that we snagged for Angie. Truth is unfolding, enlightenment. I love this, the unfolding of the rose. Beautiful. Commune with your power animal, eyes of the jaguar. Detach, seek refuge, the legend of Spider-Woman. I love that. Keep going, Journey of Helmond. That's a really cool picture. Ravens come to me and I've been painting Phoenix. Really? That's fascinating. We don't have many ravens around here, but I'm very connected to crow. But I always believe that they kind of are interchangeable, the whole shape-shifting bit. But I'm very fascinated with ravens. Look for the portal, Irish fairy. Wisdom, the rose of the world. I love this. This is beautiful. This one I actually saw in person as well. Gorgeous. And these little things all actually appeared in person to actually shimmer and sparkle. Like I thought that they were a bunch of like little gemstones, rhinestones. Beautiful. And I am so excited that she put this painting in this deck, because I've seen this painting before, but I've always wanted to have it because of what it represents, because of the energies. They're just the epitome of oneness and divine love. It is eternal love, the beloveds. And this is Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Okay. I adore this painting. And it's almost like if you look, they really are one energy there. How they just seem to blend together as one, even holding the hands together as one. This is the epitome of your divine masculine, divine feminine essence within. Okay. Affirmation touchstone. Lynette, that's very similar to the other gentleman you said looked familiar there. And last but not least, go your own way, Medina. I don't know if I said that correctly or not. It looks almost like Medina. This is beautiful. I know Cheryl talked to us about the story of this one as well when we were there, because the painting was up. I cannot remember the story at this time, but it always reminds me of, like, you know, being kind of like, you know, just you and your fur babies and you and your pups. Okay. All right, so really quickly, let me see if I can see. There we go. Can you guys see me now? I don't know what happened. So what's the last thing that you were able to hear? I was playing with the buttons and I messed up everything. So I'm only at 13%. I don't know if you could hear me the whole time or not. When it froze, could you still hear me? Okay, thank you, everybody. The last card. Okay, so I was checking my percentage on my phone or on my tablet, and I'm only at 13%. And I want to still do the reading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you all through the clearing your deck. And then, you know, as we have little elves around here who like to come in and unplug things to use chargers that they're not supposed to. So them sneaky little elves left my tablet uncharged. So after I do I'll walk you through how to cleanse your deck and attune it to yourself. Then I will come back on my cell phone and I will pull the cards for everybody, okay? So really quickly, you see me shuffling. So that's the first thing that I think that you should do when you get a deck, is just you want to really, because lots of the cards actually stick together when they're brand new, especially depending on the card stock. Some can be really sticky and tricky. So I like to just shuffle a bit. And while you're doing that, you know, you really are starting to align with your own energy here. So then you find your tool of choice. Prior to me starting this video today, I actually had my selenite. I opened up the box and I had the selenite tower, which is all salt-based. So this is all for cleansing and purification. I actually had it setting on top, and this has an apex, so it really does charge and pull in the energy. Setting on top before I even started tonight. And that was just a really quick way. You could do that overnight. As if you want to as well. First thing that I teach my students during oracle card reading is when you get a deck, before you start, even if you've already cleansed the deck, before you start a new question or for the new time of working with it, or in between readings and clients, you just give it a knock. So what the energy, what the point of that is you are basically forming a ball of energy like a lightning bolt within your hands. And when you give it that knock and shake out the deck, it's like you're knocking out any stagnant and lingering energy within the deck or around the deck. The card stock, Jillian, great question. It actually feels amazing. I really love it. It is not too thick, but it's not flimsy at all, and it's very smooth. And surprisingly, like when I first get a new deck, I have a difficult time shuffling. Everything gets, you know how it goes. Everything is like stuck together and you just keep getting the same couple of cards over and over and over again. This actually is shuffling beautifully for the first time even handling it. They're sliding. It's like butter. They're just sliding, all right? So really nice. I like this a lot. So that's the one thing that I like to do. So So then you choose your tool of choice. Do you work with sage? Do you want to work with the full moon and stick them out in the light of the full moon to clear them? Do you have your own little mantra calling in Archangel Michael to help clear out the energy and stagnant debris and anything that is not of divine love within within the presence of the deck? Or, if you're working with, like even jewelry, I do that with. For today, I'm actually going to be using Palo Santo, okay? Sounded like Lemurian deck, if that makes sense. What do you mean? I'm sorry, I'm trying to reach, guys. So I have some Palo Santo from the lovely Self-Love Muse. Little pyramid here, that these are actually ethically sourced and mulched. I think that's the right word. Is it mulched? Oh, okay. All right. So I have my ceiling fan on, so it's going to be a little tough. But so what I like to do is I like to, you could always take a bowl of salt, or if you have a Himalayan salt lamp, don't turn it on. But you could always kind of rest them up against it overnight for a good couple of hours during the day. And just really, if you don't want to work with the smoke, there's a lot going on right now with finding ethically sourced Palo Santo and sage. But also, you don't have to just use those. You could use rosemary, you could use cedar, you could use bay leaves, juniper. Okay. So I'm really kind of holding it up and around, letting the smoke really kind of envelope. And I'm just setting the intention within my head. Yes, you can use sea salt and shuffling in there. I do like to be mindful with salt, though, just because you don't want... Salt tends to sweat in the heat, which gets moist. So depending on how long you're leaving it, you should really just be mindful, because if that sweating can stick to the images of the cards and can kind of deteriorate and damage. So just be mindful of that, okay? So really smoke it up good. Am I leaving out anything? Does anybody else want to add something that they use? So while I'm doing this, just in your head, I'm asking the sacred spirit of the Palo Santo to please remove and purify all negative energies, energetic debris, residual energy, footprints, anything that is not of pure love and serving of the highest and greatest good. Because these are sacred instruments. These are tools used to channel divine information and divine guidance. Hi, Di. Yes, good call, Lynette. Thank you so much for that, hon. I can't think right now. You can use sound with the tuning forks. If you have there's an angelic tuning fork set that is a trio, using any type of sound frequency that you have, tinsha bells, the singing bowl. I'm trying to put that out so it doesn't keep smoking. The singing bowls, crystal or the Tibetan ones, using sound with them and just playing it for a little while next to or around the actual cards will help to clear out the energy. Okay. So, Di, you are catching this at the end, well, close to the end. I'm going to actually stop this video in a few minutes and come back. And I'm going to pull some cards for everybody tuning in. But you'll catch this back on replay. I showed all of the cards in the deck, and I talked about my experience and with the cards, with the previous decks, and with Cheryl Yambrach Rose, who is the creator. Okay, so you can use sound, you can use smoke, you can use energy. If you are a Reiki practitioner, you could Reiki the cards. So Reiki is so beneficial. If you are a level 2, you will understand the Reiki symbols and how to work with them. And the Sehe is the clearing out and removing of negative and stagnant energy. So you take out, okay? So I also hold the cards in my hands, and I also say, Archangel Michael, I ask you to please clear all negative energies within this deck anything that would prevent this deck from being a clear tool for divine love, wisdom, and healing of the highest and greatest good. And thank you, and so it is. So now our deck is clear, all right? Now you want to attune it to yourself. So what I like to do is I like to get every card and go through the deck, as I've already done, one by one. And what you're doing as you're doing this is like really embodying the essence of love. When you're doing this, really embodying joy and putting that energy into the cards as you go through the pictures in the deck one by one. That's also a great way to separate the cards for the decks that are brand new. They often stick together, as we said. Okay, so then after that, what I like to do is attune it to my energy. So I will actually fan the cards out with the faces towards me, and I hold it to my heart. Okay, close my eyes. I call upon my higher self, and I do ask to be aligned. Shuffle, and shuffle, and shuffle, and ask what it is that you can most learn from this deck that you're working with. Okay? And then pull your first card, and voila, you have your first alignment. And this is go back and refresh. Go back and refresh the 9 Maidens of the Kaliak. And I know lots of you are saying that the video just froze, so hopefully this still is available on the replay. You'll be able to catch that back. If it doesn't, I will do this again for all of you, because I know that the reason it froze is because this is about to die. So I will be back, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything is still there on the replay for you all, okay? Bear with me. Oh, and really quickly, the book. I wanted to show you. It does come with a book. It is not overly done. It is not too overwhelming. It is very thin. And in the beginning of the book, there are some spreads for you to work with. One called My Relationship Journey. One called My Sacred Journey. My Journey Through the Year, even. Okay? Cheryl does include how to use the cards, an introduction, the alchemy of art, which is about her artwork, and then very simple, to the point, not overwhelming, each card and their message, 1 page each. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Yep. All right, I will be right back, everybody. Bear with me. I'm gonna let my dog out really quickly because I hear her, and I will be right back with my phone. Thank you for tuning in, and again, links to purchase this are on Magical Me.